Hey, hey,
Hello,
how are you
can you hear
doing?
me?
I think so. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes,
That's awesome.
I'm good. I'm good.
I don't think so. I am sure I can hear you, so I don't know why I said I think so. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine.
Hey, pre-wineril. I don't even know how to read your handle, but welcome, welcome.
That was funny. Let's see. Right.
Hello, hello. Kyle is here too. We'll give it a couple of more minutes so Hubert can join us, and all the folks can also join us here. All right, Hubert is right here with us. Inviting you to speak. Hubert, welcome. Everyone, can you please try to? I don't think I am being able to. I think Elon
Yeah,
is rugging us once again. Yeah.
I've invited already.
Okay, cool, cool.
There he is.
I don't see him as a. Oh, there you go. It's connecting. It's connecting. Hey, Hubert, how's it going?
Hello. Hey there. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you fine.
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, amazing. Looks like they fixed this bug where you
Nice.
couldn't connect on Twitter Space with the computer. It's great.
That's good. Yeah, I haven't tried yet. Giving it some time. Space is already hard enough. Mainly adding new features, man. Features, man. We've been rug a couple of times in these spaces, so
Hmm.
hope everything is doing well there. How's it going with you?
Ah, yeah, it's going well. Quite a hectic week, to be honest, because there's this Arbitrum STA big round, and it's sucking so much of our energy. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, I bet.
Only good stuff, right?
Yep, yep. I bet it is. Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about that. Anyways, like I've been reading your Burbs market updates for a while now, so we really appreciate what you do.
I haven't been very, say, regular recently. Need to find a way to keep pushing this every 2 weeks, or find a new format probably, because it's so much work.
I bet. Yeah, it's every time there's something new. Mainly with the latest developments. We'll definitely dive also a little bit into that. But let's get this started. Would love to start with an introduction of who you are, what you do at StakeDAO, what does StakeDAO do, and so on and so forth. So let's get this started.
Sure. Okay. So first, thanks a lot for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm Hubert. I contribute to StakeDAO, which is a governance token liquid staking platform, let's say. So basically, we have two main products. One is the liquid lockers. So that's the where you can have liquid staking derivatives of locked governance tokens, such as CRV, for example, or BAL or Frax. So you can lock those CRV on StakeDAO, for example, and you receive an SDCRV. But you keep all the benefit of CRV. You keep the voting right, you keep the yield, you keep you monetize your boosting power. So it's a bit like Convex, but with the voting power, right? So that's the liquid lockers.
Yep.
These liquid lockers enable to boost a certain number of strategies. So any pool which has a Gaussian curve, balancer, Frax, etc. So that's also exactly like the LPs on Convex or Yarn, and that's where probably it gets interesting for Archimed. And then we have a last product which is called Vote Market, which is a vote incentive platform where projects can deposit vote incentives to incentivize the liquidity of their liquidity pools, but in a more efficient way than just sending liquidity incentives, as vote incentives are generally much more efficient than liquidity incentives. So yeah, maybe I can stop there and to
Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah, it's very much needed. We'll get definitely into only boost a little bit. Let's get started with like the bribes market a little bit. That brings a lot of capital efficiency for both LPs and for projects trying to attract liquidity. But before we dive too much into it, do you mind like giving us a little bit of an overview of what curve wars are, so folks that are not super familiar can understand in general? Let's start with the OG,
Sure.
of the wars.
No, of course, it's so complicated. So it's very easy to get like to assume everybody understands when it's so complicated. Basically, the way V tokens work is you have a lot of inflation generally, and as counterpart of this high inflation, you need to lock your token for a certain number of years to benefit from its value, right? So if you don't lock, you get kind of diluted by inflation. And that's how those tokenomics are sustainable, right? Because there's a lot of inflation, but most of it gets locked, right? In a very good way to decentralize a project, to incentivize liquidity using the product, etc. But it's also very technical tokenomics, right? So yeah. So basically, the main value of those tokens is that they can direct inflation, right? When you lock your token, you can direct where the inflation is going to go forward, right? which means that it's a direct financial asset, right? Because if you have one token locked, you have the possibility to direct X amount of dollars to a pool, to whomever, right? That being said, you can also monetize. You can sell this book, right? That's where the what you call bribes, generally called bribes. We like to say vote incentives, vote bounty, whatever, right? That's where they come into place, right? You monetize this V token by selling your voting power. So basically selling the opportunity to direct inflation to a certain pool. And the idea is that you sell this vote at a lower price than the amount of liquidity incentives that will be directed, right? So for the buyer, the protocol is giving vote incentives, basically. He spends, let's say, $100 in vote incentives, and that will enable him to get, say, votes that will direct $120 or $150 of liquidity incentives. So that's how the whole vote incentive market works, right?
That totally makes sense. So basically, in summary, a project who wants to attract liquidity and they need to incentivize liquidity providers, and instead of depositing directly into their pools, they use the different bribe markets, Convex, Vote Market, etc., or Votium actually, and Vote Market to increase the boost of the rewards into that specific pool. So if you deposit 100, you get 120 as a project, which means you also attract more liquidity potentially. So it's more of like a capital efficiency kind of play. Thanks for the explanation. Thanks, Hubert.
Yeah.
So
basically, just to come back on this, I think it's kind of a major innovation of last year, to be honest. It sounds very anecdotal, this bribe market, but the truth is, DeFi summer 2021 to 2022 period, all incentives were, the basic one was just you deposit incentive into a pool. Let's say, for example, you have a token, a governance token, let's say, for example, SDT, right? The stake DAO token, which is paired with ETH, for example, and you pay SDT liquidity incentives to people in that pool, and basically people provide liquidity there. They will dump most of the people that, what we learned across this bull market was that people dump the governance token and compound it into the pool. So what does it mean? That means that the amount of liquidity in the pool doesn't change, right? The amount of ETH in the pool doesn't change. It's just the amount of SDT that slowly increases, right? And so it's actually so sad, right? You give incentive and the liquidity doesn't grow, and it's fully inefficient because $1 of incentives paid leads to $1 of a loss of the market cap, right? Not the market cap, but of the pre-diluted market cap, let's say. So this vote market, this vote incentive stuff, what it allows you is to have more incentives coming than the amount you pay to keep your pool going, right? So it's actually a very good way to reduce the inflation of protocols and this kind of horrible spirals, right?
100%. Yeah, it definitely is a great innovation. Well, to begin with, Curve started this, right? And then a lot of different protocols started using. And
Yarn started it, actually. It's
Yarn started? Okay.
To be fair, the first contract was done by Andre Cronch, I think. And then there was Votium came from Convex, and then we did vote market, and then so many other people did just like. There was Paladin also brought some innovation, and then the rest is just like forks of one another, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, and then yeah, it all spread, right? Like now we have so many different bribe markets and so many different AMMs out there. Let's keep chatting a little bit about the OG of the markets, which is like within the Curve ecosystem. There has been a lot that happening there. So all of the different events, such as like the price drops of CRV, impacted by so many different things out there. The Curve hack, the different data activities from the Curve founder and CEO, all the CRV over-the-counter deals, like influenced a little bit the price drop, and with the inflation reduction also of CRV, well, lower price times lower volume means also lower pool of rewards for everybody. So the efficiency of the bribing for projects we've seen getting lower over time. So it's probably one of the lowest ever we've seen, and it seems to continue trending down. I think you're the perfect guy to talk about this because you've been monitoring it so closely, and the stories you tell in your Medium article actually reflecting a lot of this. How do you see the market evolving from here? What is the Curve and the ecosystem doing to revert this trend? What is happening there, and what should we expect to happen in the future with the bribes market within the Curve ecosystem?
Mm-hmm. You make me so much honor to.
Yeah,
But
absolutely,
I'm
man.
just a little guy trying to understand stuff, right? But yeah, I will try to answer, right? So I think regarding the halving, it's not really halving, but the reduction in inflation for Curve token. I think there is not so much alternative, to be honest, in the market. So basically, Curve is competing with liquid staking and pretty much nothing else, right? If you account for like also real world asset, which is basically liquid staking for dollars, but basically the only sources of yield in this market are liquid staking and then Curve, right? So if the inflation on Curve drops, it's too bad, right? But there's nothing anyone can do, right? I mean, in this bear market, protocols don't have enough. I mean, the possibility to incentivize crazy incentives on big TVLs. So it's basically only Curve bearing the whole market with this yield, right? So I actually think those halvings for Curve, generally they don't lead to any drop in TVL, and it's actually every time it's a good step towards more efficiency of the protocol, a more profitable protocol, basically, right? And when you know that, so yeah, I mean, for bribes and stuff, it's all connected, right? Less inflation means less bribes for sure, but it's okay. Then all this FUD around Curve and it's not FUD, right? But the difficulties they suffered, it's really sad, to be honest. But I think they will recover because there's no reason for Curve to suffer that way. Of course, the token should, in a normal environment, in a flat environment, the token should go down due to its inflation, right? Which is approximately 7% per year, right? 7% per year. Currently, it's like 3.5 cents drop in 1 year. So any drop bigger than that, I believe, is not deserved and creates opportunity to accumulate the token. So yes, I think at some point people will understand that. I think there is a lot of good stuff that are coming. What I really like with the Curve all this period is that Curve developers never stopped to work, never focused on this noise. They kept just focused on shipping, right? And now we are having a couple of more of new, new pools that are coming. Stable swap next generation, crypto pools, two pools next generation. Those are going to be big innovations. They are going to lead to much more volume for Curve, probably because for big liquidity pools, big tokens, the gas cost is actually really critical to bringing volume, and those are minimal gas costs. So I think with that, Curve should have way more volume, and I think it's going to be all right. I guess I hope so.
We all hope so. It would be just sad to see anything like that with such great innovation. I doubt, honestly, personally speaking. I don't believe it's going to happen anything dramatic with Curve. Maybe some innovations will be needed to keep things up and to keep things going on the Curve ecosystem. But I have full faith in the ecosystem, honestly. These guys have been over and over delivering, so not afraid. I think the bribes market may be different than what we know today in Curve, but it's still to see, right? Like so much going on. And I know it was a tough question. And
Yeah,
thanks
no,
for
man,
answering.
it's so stupid. Curve is suffering, always has been suffering FUD from those we call the death spirals, right?
Yep.
People who say this V token is such a scam, it's such a Ponzi, it's going to zero, and those guys are like, they prefer Uniswap, right? Uni, it's a useless token, right? It's literally zero perspective of having a fee switch being turned on at some point. It just like it's not better than Dogecoin, right? And and they don't suffer from all this FUD, right? And they've been shipping very well as well. Uniswap, they're doing some great stuff, but the token is useless. So I think Curve is suffering over FUD compared to other protocols in the market. They managed to do they managed to do an AMM which actually takes fees and actually is efficient and has good volume. So that's something to be noticed, I guess.
What I like about Curve is that they've always been very intelligent in the way that they make new things. So I don't like the phrase, but they are, in a sense, too big to fail. Because with the Curve Wars, I was able to notice that they're, even with all the FUD, like you mentioned, they're able to overcome it without much of a marketing campaign to combat this. So I think Curve is okay. The FUD is always going to be there, and I also agree with what you said that the Uni token doesn't really make sense as a token, but I don't see Curve going anywhere, especially in the short term, and we just need a bigger market to push the bribing narrative back again to make it stronger.
Yeah, and even comparing against like the bouncer ecosystem too, not much happened in the bouncer ecosystem compared to what happened in the Curve ecosystem in the last few months. But still, I think over a few months from June, May, June to September, Curve decreased much. Like Curve contraction was much lower than bouncer's contraction. In terms of the bribe sizes. So
it's kind of surprising. Like Balancer suffered also, even though they weren't. I mean, they suffered from few hacks, but nothing like Curve.
yeah,
But to be honest, I think Balancer is actually interesting as well because
it definitely
you can
is.
see that they don't have the same, like big brains such as Michael of math, stuff, etc. They will be a bit less innovation driven, but you can see they're very good business and strategic guys for sure. And every choice they make is actually quite clever. They try to not compete with Curve, for example, even though they have the same, partially same contracts. They're currently doing a big move towards cross-chain, want to be big on L2s, which I think is clever. They are pretty agile on ways to bring money to and value to their token. Like for example, I think these bribe boosted pools are very interesting. Like the fees from LPs. The fees attributable to LPs actually being used to bribe to get balancer inflation toward the pools. So this is for people who don't know about this. It's pools where the fees which would be normally going to LPs is actually used to deposit bribes for those pools, right? Which means that as an LP, instead of receiving say $10 of rewards from the trading activity of the pool, you receive say $12 from balancer inflation. But this is really clever because you don't have more inflation than before, right? Because it just the inflation is split between more people. But if you have VBAL, you receive more bribes, you have a higher bribe APR, and you also have higher fees from trading activity. So actually, this is kind of moves. It's so clever, and I think in the balancer community, okay, they are not going to do like big innovation like the stable swap next gen, those kind of stuff. But they can fork it and do their and bring their business strategy on top of it, and they will probably be successful as well.
Very, very cool. Yeah, I definitely they're doing a lot of good stuff. We're also, if time permits, we would also like to talk about Balancer. I think like one thing that I've been noticing, at least from the research that I've done here on my end, is that there has been a lot of good initiatives to help liquidity providers to get good yield within the Curve system. But I haven't seen so much happening right now to help projects bribing. So I'm not entirely sure what's going to happen with the bribes on the Curve ecosystem. I think particularly on the convex side, on the VL CVX, we're seeing less efficiency going on, and even interviewed a few users out there of the bribes, aka projects bribing. Heard from a couple of them that they have negative ROI, lower than $1 bribe deposit to rewards going into their pool. So is there?
It's a bit more complicated than that. I would say that the efficiency has not moved, but when the market was going down, and especially when CRV was going down, but also balancer, etc., between the moment you pay your bribe and the moment incentives start to flow, the token went down. So yes, those bribes were inefficient, and as you read in the last bear market update, a lot of most of the convex bribes were actually inefficient, as you just said, right?
Yeah.
But I think that was kind of circumstantial, and I don't think this is going to hold.
That's good. Yeah, and I think it will adjust naturally too over time, hopefully. What do you think about that? I think certain projects will definitely leave the bribe market. May not be working for them, but the ones that are winning will.
This space was downloaded via spacesdown.com. Visit to download your spaces today.
Will remain being there, and things will adjust as a natural, efficient market. and hopefully the ones that are in there can keep it up going. And I'm sure there will be some other types of innovations. I haven't been able to catch up too much with the latest proposals in Convex or Vodium or even Voter Market. But if you have any insights, please feel free to share on what's being done to help bribers in this scenario.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, so the figure I look at in the curve market is the total amount of bribes deposited, right? And total amount of bribes, right? And this has been so flat, like been months that we are in a 400K to 600K range, right? On Vote Market per week. So it's fairly flat, which means that I think we are in a rather stable, say, period of the market, right? In terms of innovation, I think you saw probably the move that Convex did to bring value again to staked Convex, which should bring the APR of locking Convex up probably in the long term, because there will be a premium for locking. Us at Vote Market, I think that on Vote Market we are working on a few stuffs. Notably, the main difficulty with Vote Market is that since we are and we want to stay fully on chain, which is the main differentiator compared to our other competitors, it's very difficult to find a way to do it which is both gas efficient and doesn't need to be done every week. Like users don't need to claim every week, right? So that being said, we are working on a short-term solution and a long-term solution on that. And long-term solution, unfortunately, it's kind of depending on other technical, say, breakthrough that we're waiting for. And once they are live, we will be able to move forward with that, and it will also help us go very quickly on L2 bribing, etc. And as we don't know when this will happen, we're working on something. We have actually a live grant request on Balancer to have to allow people to delegate their claiming rights to some third party, right? So someone, and you can see in the grant proposal on Balancer, it will be Gelato will be the first one to offer that. Gelato, you can delegate your claiming right to Gelato, and Gelato will claim for you, do a Merkle airdrop, so you don't have to claim every week, right? And they will take a fee for that. So I think this is like a small innovation, but that could probably change the life of a lot of people. And we're asking a grant for this because in order to be viable for Gelato, it needs a certain amount of delegation. And until we get that, it needs to be kind of subsidized, right? But
100%.
I think this should.
It's pretty cool. So things have been done to help with the efficiency overall. I think Aura is also focusing a little bit more on L2 liquidity. So they passed the IP42 recently. I think you also mentioned that a little bit in your latest Burbs market update. But yeah, it's pretty cool. So let's change focus a little bit and talk a little bit about Only Boost. So we have to ask about the hype video that you put in your Twitter. Is that related to Only Boost, or is that something else? What's that in your Twitter? I feel like there's some alpha.
It's young ladies, they used Only Boost and they made so much money out of it, right? It's a great video. I think everybody will want to use Only Boost after that, right? So basically, to give a bit more background, so we are doing a big overhaul of our strategies to make them more gas efficient. And we also brought this only boost logic, which I think is going to be kind of a small game changer in this space. Because, until now, the pitch is simple, right? Until now, you wanted to make money, right? With your stable coins or whatever. You go to Convex and you stake in a pool that seems safe and has a good yield, right? That's how you do. But actually now that StakeDAO accumulated so many CRV, we now have nearly 10% of the CRV supply, while Convex has 50%. So it's kind of the same order of magnitude. Thanks for the video. So it's kind of the same order of magnitude, right? Even though that's still like 5 times bigger, but they're 5 times bigger, they're not 500 times bigger as they used to be, right? So now it becomes a real question to be like, where am I going to get the best yield? If I'm a user, also like yield went down, right? So you don't want 3%, right? I mean, 4% is already 1/3 better, right? I mean, you need to be clever in this space to get some decent yields, right? And so the question, where do I get the best yield, now becomes very tricky, because you need to. So let's say you want to have a certain pool, right? Let's say, I don't know, the Curve USDC pool. You are happy with the risk level of this pool. You want to put your stables there, and you want to get the best yield out of it, right? You can go on Convex, and you will get the boost of Convex. You will pay 17% fee, and you will receive approximately 10% of additional CVX incentives, right? Or you can go on StakeDAO, and you will have the boost of StakeDAO, pay 16% fee or 15, and you will get SDT incentives, right? And as a user, you don't know that if you put some big amount of money on StakeDAO, for example, maybe the yield is going to go down. And so it's kind of a nightmare to know where should I put my money, right? And that's why we did OmniBoost. It's a contract where, and it's fully on-chain. It's not like some kind of off-chain management. It's both fully on-chain, fully decentralized. It's not like some kind of allocation where every month a governance votes on the allocation. It's not something like that. Like, this is a model, kind of the conic model, but this is kind of not very sustainable, because at some point it becomes more profitable for people to bribe those votes than get the best yield, right? But anyway, so it's this one is, it's just like a formula that will allocate between StakeDAO and Convex optimally, taking into account boost, incentives, fees, and the dilution of your deposit, right? So it's some kind of complicated math, but it's made in a gas efficient way. So instead of paying super high gas to deposit, like on Conic, for example, you will pay, there is some gas mutualization contracts. So you will pay even less actually than staking directly into Convex, right? And you will get a yield which is superior or equal to Convex. So I think, so we went from a state of the market where it was like a no-brainer, you need to go to Convex, then to a place where it's a nightmare to know where to go, and then to a new place where it's a no-brainer. You go to OmniBoost, it does it for you, right? I think that's the main idea. I hope Archimede will be able to do strategy on top of that.
It totally makes sense. I think Convex's size is hurting them with the Bulls side at this point, right? I think their TVL is too high, and given the formula that is used to determine the boost, that's definitely hurting them. Do you see them like diversifying away a little bit from Curve to help a little bit also with their efficiency, or not really on the boost side?
For sure, everybody noticed, I guess, that they built Convex FXN recently, and they also announced Convex Prisma, which is kind of a, kind of a big change compared to, let's say, a few months ago or maybe 1 year ago, where everybody was chasing C2TP to build new lockers, and he was saying like, those lockers, they consume resources, so you need to be very picky about them. And now he's doing that. He's probably still very picky. Those are good protocols on FXN, Prisma. But it's interesting. I think it's not impossible that all the drama that happened in the Curve ecosystem during the past few months led into this decision of finding other exposures. I don't know. I'm not in his head, but he's a very rational guy. So
it makes sense.
I had to guess. I think it would be the reason.
Yeah, I think it will be good for the space overall, because that's gonna help with the boost. LPs deposited into Convex will get better yield. Will make your only boost solution probably even better market fit in the scenario, honestly, because it will become even harder for LPs to spot the best boost and the best yield. So good stuff for everybody, I guess, at the end of the day.
Amazing.
And I wanted to butt in here too. I've just been listening, taking notes, but I'm with Archimedes as well. And thanks for talking about everything today, Heber. I've learned like a lot about the bribes and even balancers ecosystem. But I know that you mentioned like the omni pool boosting with only boost, and you did actually mention Archimedes, and that is ultimately like the direction that we are heading as well. Like we want to be launching omni pools because there's huge value in having automated management of this stuff, as you guys have seen. You're on the bribing side, and we're on the position side. But yeah, there's definitely some room there to work together with both our partners and your partners with your only boost on top of the omni pools. That seems pretty awesome for everybody involved.
Yeah, this is great. I'm very excited about that, and also very excited about what you guys are building. I hope so you be having only boost and then hopefully leverage loops on top of it. That's gonna be pretty cool, no?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and for our partners, we're kind of making the bribing cost even cheaper through like the partnerships we have with the pools that we're whitelisting. But through something like you guys with OmniBoost, we would even be able to automate that side of things, because on the OmniPool side, we'll be automating like compounding, reward compounding, and the protection of pools. But for the voting side of it, we would have to be doing something like that manually and trying to figure out what's the most optimal route, which Rafa over here has been amazing at trying to figure out. But obviously he's not going to be as good as a smart contract will be. So you could try, Rafa, but I don't think you can get to smart contract level and execute every block. So I think that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, smart contract needs to be well written, yes. But at least they don't need management, so the team can focus on further research and development. In this space, you need to develop new stuff all the time, right? So if you're focused on managing off-chain products, you just can't make it.
100%, yeah. That we're still in the very early stage of the research, so I've been doing a lot of data digging, data pulling to understand the different efficiencies. But yeah, it's pretty cool. I saw also you guys passed a governance proposal to deploy the only boost on the Curve ecosystem, the Curve liquid locker actually. So getting started with the Curve ecosystem already on the only boost. Where are you guys currently on besides Curve? And are you planning also to go on the balancer side?
Yeah, so basically it's taking a bit more time than I expected, this only boost stuff, because at first we were just doing the only boost, and then we figured out that maybe it was time to also do a major overhaul of the strategy, which is the contract, the contract that basically holds all the funds, all the user funds, and stake them in the various pools and claim the rewards, etc. So that's that contract. On top of that, there will be the only boost contract, right? But actually, we needed to do some kind of overhaul of this one to make it more gas efficient, etc. And also to harmonize between lockers, because currently our lockers, they're kind of all different. And we want to have an infrastructure which is really like as much as possible replicable between various protocols, so that, you know, medium term at some point maybe we can have like trustless liquid locker deployment, etc. But that being said, this, you know, harmonized strategy will enable us to have very quickly the balancer only boost. The only difficulty with the balancer only boost is that due to the recent proposal on Aura AIP 46, I think, which totally changes the way Aura incentives are distributed, the math is completely different. So we need to redo it.
Oh no!
So it's such a pain.
It's the nature of the beast, yeah. Like they've been doing a lot on the other side. Like they've been passing a lot of different governance proposals and changes over there. So definitely need to keep an eye. I'm not familiar with the 46, but hopefully it doesn't change too much for you guys. It's a good segue, actually.
It's basically,
sorry, keep going.
It's basically a proposal where Aura incentives stop being proportionate to bad incentives, and that was very convenient for only boost calculations. So
it's good.
They basically distribute the Aura incentives to people to pools where there is bribes for VL Aura.
Got it.
So it's kind of a weird move, but also kind of clever, but very bad for Balancer themselves. So if it's bad for Balancer, I don't see how it can be good for Aura. But yeah, we'll see, I guess.
Is it, maybe it is the, maybe it's not the 46, maybe it's the 42 they're talking. It's called maximizing value of our LP incentives and bootstrapping.
Yeah, this one.
Yeah. Okay, that one I'm a little familiar with. Okay. That's actually a very good segue before to get into a little bit of the Balancer ecosystem and what's going on there. But before I go there, I want to make sure to open the mic for the audience. I know Thiago is here. Good to see you here, sir. And please feel free to request the mic. I wanted also to invite anybody else who wants to come up stage and speak with us and ask questions. All right, so we'll keep an eye here, but let's keep moving. A little segue into the Balancer ecosystem a little bit and what's going on in the private markets there. So Hidden Hand, they launched the V2, as you said also, Hubert, on your Medium article. That seems to have hurt them at the beginning. I'm not entirely sure what happened after the more recently in the latest rounds, but we need to keep an eye to see what's going on there. Hopefully it's not an issue with the product, more of like a confusion than anything else. In Aura passed the AIP42, which is exactly what you said, changing, strengthening via Aura, but also at the same time hurting a little bit Ball LPs. So how do you think those changes are affecting the ecosystem? I'm sure you're more updated than I am. So has Hidden Hand picked back up in terms of demand, and how are Ball LPs reacting to the change?
Yeah, so it looks like Hidden Hand. So for Hidden Hand, they have the both markets, right? They have the curve, the balancer and the aura market. So they don't care if money goes from one to the other.
Mm-hmm.
But still, the balancer market, I think, is picking up actually from those stuff. But as a voter, because we are we have vote market, right? But we are also voters as part of the liquid lockers, right?
Yeah.
And as a voter, it's kind of a bloody nightmare, to be honest, because from the UI, you have no idea whether the bribe is going to stay for 2 weeks or not. So it's kind of gambling. And also, if you want to have data-driven analytics on your bribes, looking backward on your performance, this is impossible on Hidden Hand. They do some kind of black magic to give rewards to people, and you have no clue how you got your money. And don't even try asking for help to understand that. So yeah, they kind of keep this nearly monopoly, but I think it's very dependent on one thing, which is balancer depositing the money from the boosted pool we were talking about on Hidden Hand. And this is due to the problem I was mentioning with vote market, where you need to claim every week. And balancer, they don't like that. So that's also why we are fixing it. So yeah, let's see what happens.
It's going to be pretty cool. That's an opportunity, I guess, to help users and bribers to understand what's going on in the Hidden Hand. Well, I guess the name was very well chosen then, given the context that you just gave. Not super familiar with Hidden Hand, honestly, but I need to get in there. Good stuff.
At least they brought some good analytics still in the past. So it's still better now than it used to be in the past. So.
Yeah, so it sounds like they're doing some improvements in there. So hopefully that will change over the next few months.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Well, we've been talking a lot about the bribe markets, and I think the curve ecosystem has set up like the entire for these type of wars and bribe markets. So we've seen a lot of different projects getting into this. So Pendle, Radiant, Wombat, Veldrum, and more recently to Maverick. So it's getting really, really hard to keep track of everything. So it's definitely challenging. Is there anything going on like in these new protocols getting into the bribe, like maybe Pendle? I've heard a lot more recently about Maverick. I mean, I honestly need to catch up with them. Is there anything happening there that is worth noting? Any types of innovations or any major improvements from the other traditional bribe markets?
So Pendle, we are going to launch vote market for Pendle, but it's a bit tricky. So I mean, we are going to try at least to launch it.
Mm-hmm.
Because currently the Pendle bribe market is it's only skewed towards convex blocks, so Equilibria and PenPy. There is no native V Pendle bribe market, which is something that's missing, basically. Right? So yeah, we'll see. And also, yeah, Maverick, still waiting for the airdrop. because the airdrop will be the day it starts, like the fun begins, right?
Yep.
Then there will be the voting, etc. So
Yeah, I guess
so then there will be vote market for it. There will be bribes. It's still surprising how high volumes they manage to get with such a low TVR.
definitely.
I would love to understand that. It's very impressive.
Yeah, it definitely is. I think the little that I've looked into Maverick, very, very little, honestly, is that Swell is a big participant in their market. So it may be some of the reasons why Swell is pretty big protocol. It's already participating in their ecosystem. So it could be partial explanation for that too.
Swell, I think Liquidity as well.
Liquidity too. Yeah.
And there are some peoples. We know there are some people. Sorry, which airdrop being said to be on the volume generated rather than the fees generated, take advantage of that to do very, very efficient pool, which bring no value to the protocol, which can be big volumes, right? And just some kind of airdrop farming.
Yep.
But there are some people playing this game. This is probably going to stop after the airdrop. But yeah.
That's awesome. Well, the space is evolving, and it's honestly getting really, really hard to keep up with everything going on. But I guess it's a good thing, and it will probably create a lot of opportunities for you guys, through aggregators, on these bribe markets, and helping LPs also maximize the yield. So I'm sure there will come up some good stuff. So some good innovations from there. I think complexity creates a good opportunity for us to innovate as a space. So looking forward to see what's going to come from that. I think we're getting close to the hour, so wanted to give the space for you, Hubert, to give us some good alpha you haven't given yet in these spaces or anywhere else even.
Alors, good alpha. I gave some alpha, but yeah, if you want more, if we get the Arbitrum grant, you will have some very good yields on the curve strategies on Arbitrum for sure, and also you'll be able to have some good yield on SDCRV CRV pool on Arbitrum as well. But we need your votes for that.
Absolutely. Yeah, whoever is here and wants to support, so please go vote. And it sounds like Pendle is coming up for you guys, so really exciting stuff.
We have Pendle already. Yeah, we for vote market. Yeah, it's coming up. It's coming up. Hopefully. It's not straightforward. That's a bit the issue. Because normally, normal protocols, it's 5 minutes to integrate in vote market, but this one is a bit more tricky.
Yeah, I think they're approaching it slightly different from the get-go. Yeah, I also need to get a little bit deeper into it, but it sounds like a lot of cross chain operations going on in the back end too. So not sure if that makes things super complex for you guys either. But yeah, very cool. I wanted to make sure I open up the mic for everyone who wants to ask any questions or wants to make any comments up here on the stage. And I think this is a record for us, 1 hour without being rugged in Twitter Spaces. So super happy with this.
We still have 3 minutes.
Don't jinx it, right? So all right, this was super awesome, Hubert. We should definitely do it again. I'll definitely dive more into the Pendle and the Maverick ecosystem. We should discuss that later once you guys are exploring a little bit deeper those ecosystems too.
Sure, and yeah, looking forward to see you guys also develop your leverage strat and integrate OnlyBoost. I'm very excited about this collaboration. So thanks again for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Super good education here for our folks. Really appreciate the spaces with us. Thank you so much.
A pleasure. Have a good evening or good day.
Yeah,
Ciao.
you too. Thank you, Bert.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
This space was downloaded via spacesdown.com. Visit to download your spaces today. 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 Download